We're definitely doing a homage to the past. We're starting out with material that I actually played in the 70s in the Blue Devil snare line. Chuck Mangione's Legend of a One-Eyed Sailor, the actual drum beat, which originally came from the military as a cadence. And the concept was to just keep adding on and adding on and adding on, and it was really interesting, even during the audition process, to see if our returning tenor line, which was for gentlemen, if they can play traditional grip or play snare style. The other option was to go everybody match grip, which we really didn't want to do. We wanted to keep it more authentic and more traditional. So it was a battle to work the traditional grip, and it's still a battle, and we'll keep working it, I'm sure, through August. But we had the 4 tenors that are on snare. We added 3 bass drummers that also have pretty good traditional grip. They're on snare. And with the 9 snares that we have originally, we have 16 snare drummers starting this show. Yeah, one of my favorite productions, as it's turning out to be, is the ballad. The original concept was no drums at all. We didn't want the drum line involved in the ballad. And as this thing started to get produced on the field, we started looking at it, we started listening to it more. Myself and Dave Glide had conversations about, I think we need some drums in there. You know, maybe in the end, we'll just boost up the end a little bit. So we did, and then we liked that so much, maybe we need a little bit more drumming in there. Maybe we need a little bit more in there. And wow, this is perfect staging for a little bass feature right here where they ended up on the field. And so as everything in Blue Devil land, it morphs, you know, into something that we weren't planning on. And there's probably more battery notes in the ballad now than maybe in the rest of the show almost. And they're very tasty beats, they're very loud beats near the end when the chorus is just going crazy. This ballad is just growing and growing and growing, and I think it's gonna tear the house down. What's real interesting about this show, and again, it changes daily with Blue Devils, it changes hourly, which is what's so fresh about what we do. And one of the things that I'm starting to feel about the show is, yes, it's past, present, future, the way it's kind of laid out, but there's also flashbacks, there's flash forwards. You know, it's like you're watching a movie and there's little bits and pieces that keep jumping out, you know, whether it's the future, whether it's the past. Oh, wait, I remember that from back when. You know, and you keep hearing these little licks, whether it's a drum lick, whether it's even something in the melodic in the front ensemble. Obviously, the brass line's able to play some of the melodies all over the place from the past, and it's the development is off the charts. A lot of the conversations that the drum line is playing comes from Dave. I embellish some of it, I do some of it my own, but it's mainly Dave. And we let the members take it and run with it. You know, what do you guys got? What do you want to do? A good example is this one little jazz thing we're doing in the ballad where they're actually backfield. And it's a nice little jazz, like you'd play on almost a drum set snare drum. And when it was written to be, you know, pretty stock. You just play a little buzz here, you play a flam here, you do this. But the snares have embellished it now to, like if you were watching a jazz concert, you're watching a snare drummer play this on the snare drum with the way they do the technique is a little bit different, the way they're coming in the approach to the instrument. And we do a lot of that. I mean, we rely on our members a lot, the experience that they have and the desire that they have to make this, you know, cool stuff. It's funny when I first heard the drum line play in the beginning of the show, after we worked it a little bit and sitting in the stands listening to it, was without the front ensemble. And there's a little bit of flashback there, you know, a little bit of flashback, except the drums sound a little different now than they did back in the 70s, of course. And we were on the 50 the whole show. That's all we did is stand there. So it's a little bit different, but yeah, you get that little feeling every now and then. I think the alumni and I think some older statesmen who've been in the activity for a while or who've been out of the activity for a while, when they check us out, they're going to really appreciate the diversity that this battery has to be able to play all of that.